Before the sun slides over the low rooftops, Maya stands in the dim blue of her kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator her only witness. Steam from a dented kettle curls upward, tracing shapes she doesn't name. Ian sits at the small table, legs swinging, drawing with a stub of pencil on the back of an old hospital form. The clock ticks, steady as a heartbeat. The world outside still dreams, but inside this narrow home, a mother rehearses calm. She adjusts his collar, smooths his hair, and hides her tiredness behind a smile bright enough to chase shadows. In her eyes, mornings are promises she keeps for him. Quiet, steady, unbreakable. The day ahead waits, innocent for now, holding its breath before the words that will bruise both of them. The lane hums with the chatter of children and neighbors as Maya guides Ayan toward the small school courtyard. Ayan's backpack hangs loosely on his shoulders, slightly too big, emphasizing his tender 9-year-old frame. He glances nervously at groups of kids whispering and laughing, their glances pointed but unreadable. Maya senses his tension, her hand tightening subtly around his. She reminds him softly to breathe, to hold his head high. Every whispered insult carries weight here, but she steels herself to shield him. The morning air is crisp, the sun brushing the walls with light, yet in the shadows the first seeds of humiliation take root. Today he might not be a mistake to her, but in the eyes of the world, the word hovers. At the school gate, Farah Siddiqui's sharp laugh slices through the morning calm. Her words, laced with thinly veiled venom, reach Ayan's ears. What a mistake. The syllables cling to him, sticky as the dust in the courtyard. Maya freezes for a heartbeat, recognizing the moment for what it is. A social dagger thrown with precision. Children glance, adults smirk. Maya's mind races, but outwardly she smiles tightly, letting the insult pass over her shoulder. She pulls Ayan closer, feeling his tiny body tremble against hers. Today, the world is loud, unfair, and small, yet she vows to be bigger than it. The sting of shame does not dictate their lives. Ayan walks hesitantly toward his classroom, clutching his bag like a lifeline. The playground echoes with laughter and small betrayals, children in clusters whispering. Maya watches from a few steps behind, her eyes tracing his fragile movements. She wants to intervene, to scoop him up, to erase the cruelty, but knows some battles must be faced. Every step Ayan takes is a lesson in resilience, though the weight of the insult clings like shadows across his small frame. The morning is no longer gentle. It hums with tension. Maya's mind catalogs every glance, every comment, every whisper, promising herself that this world will not define him. Inside the classroom, Ayan hesitates at the door, taking in the rows of tiny desks and bright posters. His pencil case, stuffed and slightly torn, feels heavier than usual. Maya kneels beside him for a brief moment, whispering encouragement, steadying his nerves. The chatter fades into a hum, the sun now higher, casting warm light across the floor. Today, a day that began with a cruel word, transforms into small acts of courage. A smile to a friend, a pencil dropped and retrieved, a seat claimed with quiet defiance. Maya steps back, letting him breathe, letting him exist fully. And in that act, the first glimmer of their unbroken bond shimmers through the morning. Maya steps into the school office, the scent of polished wood and chalk lingering. She approaches Mr. Rizvi, the teacher whose calm authority has always been a quiet anchor. Her voice, steady yet taut, negotiates the unspoken tension of Ayan's morning humiliation. Mr. Rizvi listens, brow furrowed, nodding as he scribbles notes. Maya's mind races, replaying the cruel words, imagining their ripple through the schoolyard. She realizes that confrontation alone will not protect her child. Systems of judgment and gossip run deeper. The office light catches the edge of her determination, outlining the subtle curve of resolve in her expression. Today, she tests the waters of authority, gauging allies and resistance alike. measuring the landscape of power, one cautious step at a time. After school, Maya meets Jamal at his small, cluttered workshop. Engines hum in the background, the scent of oil and metal thick in the air. She explains the morning, her voice sharp with frustration, her hands gesturing with controlled urgency. Jamal, 34 years old, leans against a workbench, listening with steady patience. He asks questions, offers practical solutions, but warns of backlash. Together, they map the small community's social dynamics: neighbors who gossip, parents who judge, teachers who avoid confrontation. Maya nods, absorbing the network of small resistances, realizing that protection for Ayan cannot be quiet or isolated. It must be strategic, visible, and undeniable. Maya walks the neighborhood after dusk, observing clusters of neighbors on narrow lanes, their conversations quiet but pointed. She notices Farah Siddiqui at a doorway, exchanging sharp whispers with another parent, their words invisible but their smirks unmistakable. Ayn, clutching her hand, glances up, sensing her vigilance. Maya's mind charts the alliances and vulnerabilities, the social power play etched in every glance. She realizes that silence is complicity, and subtle confrontation is not enough. To shield her child, she must act publicly, decisively, and with moral precision. The night air carries a weight of possibility, and Maya's resolve hardens in the cool shadows. Back home, Maya and Iron sit at the small kitchen table, the day's tensions spilling into quiet moments. Ayan traces patterns on his sketch pad, trying to capture the shapes of the world and the fear inside him. Maya watches, heart tightening, knowing she cannot erase the sting of words but can guide him toward resilience. She discusses with him gently what strength looks like, what pride feels like when others dismiss you. In the low light, a plan begins to take shape. One that will turn whispers of cruelty into public reckoning. One that will teach lessons without sacrificing innocence. The mother and child share a tentative smile, their bond a fragile but luminous thread against the looming social storm. That night, Maya sits by her window, city lights flickering like distant stars. She journals, her pen scratching out ideas for the lesson she will orchestrate. Each note, each sketch, maps the path of confrontation that is moral yet unyielding. She imagines faces in the crowd: parents, teachers, Farah Siddiqui, Tariq Khan, and rehearses words that cut through pretense, revealing truth. Ayan sleeps in the next room, small breaths rising and falling. Maya leans back, heart heavy with responsibility, yet ignited with purpose. Tomorrow, the quiet strategies must become visible action. She will no longer wait. The lesson begins here, in resolve and planning, in the mother's unwavering gaze at the world's injustices. Maya stands outside the small community hall, the faded paint glowing orange in late afternoon sunlight. She carries sketches, lists, and Ayan's drawings tucked under her arm, each one a blueprint for the lesson they will stage. Jamal and Layla arrive with quiet smiles of encouragement. Maya's mind races. Who will help? Who will oppose? How the message will be heard without being lost in spectacle. She rehearses words silently, balancing outrage with precision, determination with care. Every detail matters. The order of witnesses, the placement of children, the lighting, the sound. The plan must be moral, yet undeniable. In the still heat of the afternoon, Maya senses a spark of possibility, and with it, a flicker of fear she does not deny. Inside the community hall, Maya, Ayan, Jamal, and Layla arrange chairs and small props for the lesson. The air smells faintly of dust and polish. Ayan nervously sets his sketches on a table, glancing at his mother for reassurance. Maya directs placement, speaks softly but firmly, orchestrating every detail. Jamal tests the sound of a small microphone while Layla reviews a list of witnesses and seating arrangements. Every movement is deliberate, each choice carrying weight. Maya imagines the audience, the skeptical faces, the whispers that will try to drown the truth. Yet for the first time, possibility feels tangible. The lesson may not just protect her son, it may expose injustice and demand accountability. Rehearsals begin. Aeon stands in the center of the hall, holding his drawings, voice trembling at first, but growing steadier with each word. Maya coaches him quietly from the sidelines, adjusting his posture, reminding him to breathe. Layla encourages clarity. Jamal offers small technical tips. The first run falters, props topple, nerves spike. But the energy is electric, charged with courage and anticipation. Maya senses that control is slipping, but also sees Ayan's quiet pride emerging. They are crafting more than a performance. They are creating a shield of truth and dignity, ready to face the community that has judged without understanding. A rehearsal mishap shakes their confidence. Farah Siddiqui unexpectedly appears at the hall's entrance, her sharp gaze sweeping the room. Ayan freezes mid-sentence, cheeks flushing. Maya steps forward, calm but firm, motioning him to continue. Jamal positions himself to block distraction while Layla recalibrates the sequence. Tension thickens, the room charged with the potential for embarrassment or defiance. Yet Maya feels the first pulse of satisfaction. They are no longer invisible, and each misstep becomes an opportunity to demonstrate courage. The lesson, once theoretical, is now alive and unavoidable. By nightfall, the rehearsal concludes. Maya sits with Ayan at the edge of the hall, reviewing his sketches. The plan is solid, but doubts linger in the shadows of her mind. The community will resist. Tariq Khan may interfere. The lesson could backfire. Still, she feels the weight of possibility, the quiet fire of moral purpose that cannot be ignored. Every diagram, every note, every whispered encouragement becomes a thread in a tapestry of action. They will go public. They will not hide. And in that commitment, mother and child share a brief, unspoken smile, an acknowledgement of courage and the journey ahead. The school assembly hall buzzes with murmurs and shifting chairs as parents and teachers settle in. Maya Rahman stands near the back, arms folded, eyes scanning the crowd for familiar faces. Farah Siddiqui, seated primly, whispering to neighbors. Tariq Khan, leaning casually against the wall, phone in hand. Ayan clutches his sketches at the front of the hall, legs bouncing nervously. Maya feels the tension coil in her chest, but steadies herself with a slow exhale. Today, the whispers of cruelty will meet carefully orchestrated truth. The moment hangs, suspended, waiting for the first spark of confrontation to ignite awareness, or shame. Ayan begins presenting his drawings, voice shaky but gradually gaining clarity. Each image tells a story. Friendship, family, courage, small victories. The room is silent, the usual hum of gossip replaced by the weight of truth made visible. Maya watches from the back, pulse steadying, as faces shift. Some soften in understanding, others stiffen in discomfort. Farah Siddiqui's lips tighten. Tariq Khan fidgets. The lesson unfolds. The child once called a mistake commands attention without accusation, demonstrating resilience in plain view. The mother's careful orchestration transforms whispered cruelty into public reckoning. Mid-presentation, Farah Siddiqui interrupts with a scoff, questioning the relevance of the drawings. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Maya steps forward, calm but authoritative, addressing Farah with measured words that cut through pretense. Jamal subtly positions himself near the aisle, offering silent support. Layla nods from the side, guiding the sequence. The tension spikes. Some parents frown, some avert eyes, but Maya's planning pays off. Ayan continues, bolstered by his mother's presence. Each rebuttal becomes part of the lesson. Accountability is public, courage is visible, and injustice cannot hide behind whispers. The atmosphere thickens as Maya unveils evidence of Farah's whispered insults and Tariq's evasions, handwritten notes, recordings, and corroborating statements from other parents. Gasps ripple through the room. The hierarchy of judgment falters. Farah's smile falters. Tariq's composure cracks. Ayan, standing tall, watches the adults stumble under the weight of their own words. Maya's eyes meet her son's for a moment. A silent acknowledgement. He is seen, he is defended, and he is no longer invisible. The lesson is delivered. Cruelty may start small, but accountability can reverberate publicly and undeniably. The assembly concludes. Silence lingers before hesitant applause breaks out, uneven but growing. Some parents avert eyes, some nod slowly, recognition dawning. Maya gathers Ayan's hand, guiding him to the exit, their bond reaffirmed. Farah Siddiqui slinks toward the doorway, subdued, while Tariq Khan mutters excuses to no one in particular. The room feels altered. The balance of power shifted. Outside, sunlight bathes the street in gold, promising renewal. Maya exhales, knowing this is only the beginning, but also that for the first time, her son will walk taller in a world that once whispered he was a mistake. Rumors swirl through the neighborhood like autumn leaves caught in the wind. At work, Maya Rahman faces awkward stares from colleagues, whispered speculation about her parenting choices, and veiled judgment. She clenches her fists beneath the table, swallowing irritation and fear. Outside, children giggle with cruel familiarity, echoing Farah Siddiqui's comments. Even Tariq Khan maintains a polished facade while undermining her credibility in hushed calls. Maya knows that standing up publicly has shifted power, but it has also painted a target on her back. She exhales slowly, steadying herself. Protecting Ayan and delivering the lesson is worth the personal cost, but the stakes now feel heavier, and the social currents more turbulent. At home, Ayan refuses to unpack his bag, retreating into the quiet corner of their small living room. Maya kneels beside him, voice gentle yet firm. He whispers fears of being called a mistake. Again, doubt lacing each word. Maya's chest tightens, but she resists the urge to erase the world's cruelty with words alone. Instead, she listens, validates, and strengthens him with quiet courage. Each syllable is deliberate. Fear acknowledged, dignity reinforced. The home becomes a sanctuary against the backlash, a place where Ayan can reclaim his sense of self. Outside, the neighborhood simmers. Inside, resilience grows. Maya meets Layla in a quiet cafe, the smell of tea and spices mingling with muted chatter. They discuss strategy for the upcoming public event, weighing risks, the potential backlash from Tariq Khan, Farah Siddiqui allies, and social ostracism. Maya's hands tremble slightly over her cup, betraying fatigue and anxiety. Layla offers counsel, calm and seasoned, reminding Maya that moral action often courts resistance. The weight of responsibility presses on her, but a spark of determination remains. They will escalate the lesson publicly and undeniably to ensure Ayan's dignity is recognized and the community confronts its complicity. At the local market, whispers reach Maya as she walks with Ayan between stalls. Farah Siddiqui points subtly, gossip rolling over ears, while neighbors' glances follow like silent judgments. Children repeat the cruel words under their breath. Maya's jaw tightens, but she keeps Ayan close, speaking softly to shield him. She knows the lesson must culminate soon. Waiting risks harm to her child's confidence. Each stare, each whispered accusation fuels her resolve. Public action is no longer a choice. It is a necessity, both for accountability and for restoring Ayan's sense of worth. That night, Maya sits alone at her desk, the city lights outside flickering like distant stars. Notes, diagrams, and rehearsal schedules cover every inch of the table. The weight of potential failure presses, but so does the imperative of truth. She imagines the upcoming public event, Ayan's voice clear, witnesses aligned, the community unable to ignore their complicity. Her mind flickers to Tariq Khan, Farah Siddiqui, and every parent who whispered cruelty. Tonight, she steels herself. Escalation is inevitable. The lesson must be delivered. And the child they called a mistake will not be diminished again. The day of the community fair dawns bright and clear. Maya Rahman stands near the entrance with Ayan, clutching his sketches and notes, nerves and anticipation coursing through both. Jamal arranges props, while Layla double-checks the sequence of events. Tables and stages are set. Banners hang subtly, displaying children's artwork and quotes about courage and respect. Parents and neighbors trickle in, murmuring and casting curious glances. Farah Siddiqui and Tariq Khan arrive, their expressions wary but defiant. Maya exhales slowly, centering herself. Today, the lesson will unfold, public and undeniable, exposing the cruelty that once whispered mistake in her child's ears. The fair begins. Ayan steps onto the small stage, sketches spread out before him. Maya watches from the sidelines, heart pounding as he speaks with clarity and quiet strength. Each drawing illustrates moments of kindness, injustice, and courage, punctuating truths the community cannot ignore. Parents murmur, some shifting uncomfortably. Farah Siddiqui tightens her lips, while Tariq Khan fidgets, unable to maintain composure. Maya feels a surge of pride and relief. Her child, once belittled as a mistake, commands attention, teaching by example, vulnerability turned into unyielding presence. Maya steps forward, revealing evidence of past slights and whispered insults, photographs, notes, and recordings carefully displayed on a table. The audience reacts, awkward coughs, whispers. Farah Siddiqui falters, her social poise cracking. Tariq Khan opens his mouth to deflect but stops as murmurs turn into recognition of truth. Ayan stands tall beside his mother, absorbing the power of validation. The room tilts. Those who belittled, judged, or stayed silent are confronted by the weight of their actions. Maya feels the lesson land, righteous and precise, turning cruelty into accountability and shame into public consciousness. Parents begin to murmur, slowly turning recognition into tentative apologies. Some admit they had witnessed cruelty and done nothing. Farah Siddiqui mutters an apology, barely audible, while Tariq Khan offers an uneasy nod to Maya. Ayan smiles faintly, understanding that the world is flawed, but that courage and truth can reshape its edges. Maya exhales, aware of the cost, but also the profound justice of the moment. The lesson resonates. Accountability, visibility, and moral courage outweigh whispered cruelty. The air hums with quiet acknowledgement. The crowd's energy shifted. The child once belittled now central to the moral fabric of the community. The fair concludes. Maya gathers Ayan in her arms briefly, feeling the weight of triumph and relief. Parents and children disperse, some offering genuine praise, others silently recalibrating their judgments. Farah Siddiqui walks away subdued, while Tariq Khan lingers briefly before departing. The stage, littered with sketches and notes, glows in the afternoon sun, a testament to courage, preparation, and moral action. Maya exhales, aware that battles remain, but for the first time, she and her child stand unbroken. The label, mistake, permanently reclaimed and transformed into pride. The morning after the fair, Maya Rahman walks with Ayan along the quiet street. Neighbors nod politely. Some offer small apologies, their expressions softened by yesterday's revelations. The air is crisp, sunlight bouncing off painted walls and rooftops, bathing the lane in warmth. Ayan carries his sketch pad confidently, his small steps echoing newfound pride. Maya notices Tariq Khan watching from a distance, subdued, and Farah Siddiqui avoiding her gaze entirely. The neighborhood feels altered, subtly reordered by truth and courage. Maya exhales, sensing a quiet balance restored, a world where whispered cruelty no longer defines her child. At school, Ayan's classmates cluster around him with tentative smiles and whispered congratulations. He laughs softly, a sound Maya had been longing to hear. Teachers offer nods of encouragement, and Mr. Rizvi gives a subtle thumbs up signaling continued support. The hallways, once tense with judgment, now pulse with cautious warmth. Maya watches from the doorway, feeling the weight of victory and responsibility intertwined. This is not just a public lesson. It is the shaping of a community, a small but meaningful shift toward recognition, empathy, and accountability. Back home, Maya sits with Ayan at the small kitchen table, reviewing his sketches from the fair. Each drawing tells a story of courage, kindness, and defiance against whispered cruelty. They laugh together at minor mistakes, savoring the simplicity of connection. Maya reflects on the long journey, from whispered insults to public reckoning, and realizes that the true lesson lies not only in confronting injustice, but in nurturing resilience, creativity, and self-worth. In this quiet domestic space, mother and child reclaim their world, unburdened by the judgment of others. In the neighborhood park, Maya and Ayan walk past children playing and neighbors engaging in routine chatter. Some who once whispered cruelty now smile warmly or nod respectfully. Ayan skips ahead briefly, returning with a small flower, offering it to his mother. Maya accepts it with a gentle smile, pride swelling in her chest. The world remains imperfect, but their space within it is no longer defined by fear or shame. They have reclaimed dignity, and in the subtle gestures of recognition around them, the lesson endures, echoing quietly yet powerfully through the streets. As evening falls, Maya and Ayan stand at their doorway, watching the city glow beneath the fading sun. Sketches, notes, and small remnants of the fair sit neatly on a shelf, evidence of courage and careful planning. Ayan leans against his mother, content and confident. Maya feels the weight of every challenge overcome, the whispers, the judgment, the careful orchestration of truth, and smiles softly. Their world is quieter now, shaped by resilience and moral courage. The label once imposed on Ayan, the word mistake, has been transformed, replaced by love, recognition, and unshakable pride.